get the vibe that you're distant. There's something about you that's different. I see it in your eyes. Something isn't right. Tell me again what I'm missing. 'Cause you're fading out. We've been here before. Tell me again, just tell me again, and I'll make it right. Don't go through that door. Tell me again, just tell me again, and I'll make it right. It is a lie when you tell me that nothing is wrong, just leave it be. But I see it in your eyes. Something isn't right. Tell me again what I'm missing. 'Cause you're fading out. We've been here before. Tell me again, just tell me again, and I'll make it right. Don't go through that door. Tell me again, just tell me again, and I'll make it right. I will make it right. I will make it right. Tell me again, just tell me again, and I'll. 'Cause you're fading out. We've been here before. Tell me again, just tell me again, and I'll make it right. Don't go through that door. Tell me again, just tell me again, and I'll make it right. Tell me again. Tell me again.
Happy Tuesday, everybody. Hi, Rodney. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. Did you, this is important. Now look me in the eye. Did you find all your eggs?
Well, I didn't. We didn't get to hide any this year.
Oh,
I got two sophomores, so the hiding the Easter eggs is we're past that.
Oh,
I've
okay.
graduated.
I know I'm getting to the age where I forget stuff, so I think I could probably hide my own Easter eggs, and just do it solo. That's something that I would look forward to.
Yeah, they
So,
just it's sad. You brought that up. I can't. It's just sad, Andy. It's turned from Easter eggs to Venmo. I mean, my son's like, Venmo me 50 for some gas or something. He's not worried about any Easter eggs.
I bet you that this is so on topic in terms of Easter eggs. I bet the number of Easter eggs being colored is way down this year because $5 a dozen. I mean, you're not throwing that stuff out in the yard,
You're right. I bet it is. We should do a poll on that.
A poll on that. Yeah. How many people actually colored their eggs or just went straight to eating them?
Yeah. $5 a dozen. I bet there wasn't a bunch of. You're right. There wasn't 36 eggs made that morning. I bet.
Get back out in the yard and find those eggs.
Go get those plastic ones.
Yeah, gonna have egg salad or something for the next week. Honey, Mom, I'm tired of egg salad. Eat your eggs.
Yeah.
Golly. All right. So,
yeah, Angie's past that too. So
yeah, getting that 5:30 stuff. I remember. Hey, I got true confessions though. I mean, I would kind of complain about it to my first wife, but it was so fun watching my kid get up and, I mean, kids got more done in 30 seconds doing the Easter egg hunt. You could pay them $20 and they wouldn't clean up their room in a week,
Yeah.
If you're hiding Easter eggs in there, they'd be done in 12 seconds.
Get 8 cents out of an egg. Yeah. They put in a lot of work for that.
Well, I have to say that as far as the lending side of the world, Rodney, I'm a little disappointed with your activity here this last few days. I mean, would you make up your mind, please?
No. This is crazy.
All right. Well, here we go for Rodney's rates. That's right.
Hey, they're upside down.
All right. He's going to be hurting us again today. I know what's coming. I don't know why let's see what we're doing here. Hang on. Let's try this. Wang. Hey, there we go. All right. There it is.
All right. Well, here it is. 9 basis points down today, which is not very much of a move at all. You can see how it's traded this morning. Not very much movement. The 10-year Treasury is up 2 basis points, so not much movement. So you can scroll down to kind of like we always do and take a look at what it's been doing. But like Andy said, from the start of April 6th right here, we've taken a few days hit and not much today, right? Not much going on there. Pretty flat today. And let's see here. If you let's see here, this give you a look. Well, that's the last 10 days, so not much there. Go to 1 month.
Jeez.
Kind of see how it's trailing right there for a month.
Yep.
And then here's your 6 months.
And so that bottom, boy, that's a much easier one for me to read. Not the candlestick, but the one below it.
You like the one below it?
I mean, that's the actual rates that we're looking at there, isn't it?
Yes, I think this is the what do they call it there? I can't even read that red thing. My eyes are so bad. What's that right there?
It says percentage D 3DMA. I don't know what that means.
3-day moving average.
Okay.
That may be the 30-day moving average.
But I mean,
they're tracking that. Yeah, it's different than it's the moving average. It's like a 3-day or a 30-day. I've always heard them a 30-day. So I'm not sure what that's actually tracking right there.
Right. Yeah. I just know that you guys breathed a lot of hope for a lot of us, because I mean it got real close to 6% in the last few days. And then it bounced back up. Isn't that right?
Mm-hmm. Right here.
Oh,
Right
yeah.
there is our best. Yeah. And it's, I think we'll see this though. I think it'll bounce off and maybe just kind of keep tracking up a little bit. And, as obviously is what I'm hoping, right?
Yeah.
I'm hoping it tracks up and continues to get better. But what can you do? You just look at it at where it is today.
Right. And I mean, isn't that telling us, let me do something here. It's like I think that's what I love about this thing is that it's going to be up and down. That's just what it is. And we've seen that for bad or worse, but it's really been consistent between 6 and 7. I mean, it's been, it touched and went over 7 a little bit. And not that we're getting into the rates too much all the time, but whenever I get questions, that is question number 1. Whenever you look at Reddit, people are talking, is it time to buy? The first question is about rates and stuff. And I think what you keep teaching us, what the system is telling us is that we're consistently I'm going to call it a safe zone. It isn't where we want to be, but it's not going crazy. Is that a fair interpretation?
I do. I think you can look at it every single time if you want to, pull it back up there. You can. Let me uncheck that. You can see every time it's hit close to 7%, it has bounced off that. It's bounced off that ceiling.
Bring it back. Are you talking about the chart now?
Yeah. If you look up here, every time it's hit, like it hasn't broke through, right? And it hit here and it bounced and went all the way down here and then it come up again and see, it's still not hit that upper level, but that's what I like is that I really feel like we have to have seen the top of the rate chart because every time it hits there, it immediately starts regressing.
Yeah.
And that means everybody's buying it, right? Everybody's buying it, these mortgage-backed securities at 7%.
Yeah. And but I'll tell you what, I'll take that kind of consistency all day. I'll take that because here, let's make, let me see if I can't bring this up. Hang on a second. I wonder if I can do this. Do we remember? I'm going to do something. This might blow up, but I'm going to try it anyway. Remember we were looking at this a while back?
Yeah.
Housing market crash alert, March 18th. Well, wait.
Is that 24?
Yeah, it was March 28th is what they were saying that there was a crash, to get ready for that, right? And I'm saying here we are, we didn't crash.
Yeah. It was right. Yeah.
I mean, because I was telling you, and I'm not trying to be a smart guy, but it's happened so frequently now. The Case-Shiller, again, that's a way of measuring resale properties. It doesn't account for new homes. It doesn't account for townhomes. It's just one house that's been sold more than once on a repetitive basis over the years. That's what the Case-Shiller is. I'm certain that it's more complex than that, but that's the basics of it. And that's how they watch these numbers. Well, if you remember, they were talking about year over year was less here in the last month or so. And I told you there was going to be the sky has fallen videos. There you go.
Yeah.
How do you walk back from that? When you publish something like that, mark your calendars for March 28th. Okay.
Yeah.
Done.
They don't. Well, the people that put those out there, they don't think about how do you walk back from it. They don't care. They're just going to write another article. You don't remember. We're the only ones who remember, right? We bring it up.
Then they write the next one that gets a lot of clicks. Oops, we were wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about some crazy news here. We got some weird stuff going on. Whoops, wrong. I'm gonna fix that. No, I'm not. No, yeah, I'm gonna fix that. Hang on. There we go. See, look at that. Somebody's getting better at the production side.
Boom. The producer.
Boom. Mr. Producer, sir. All right. So here's the first thing that I wanted to chat about. Affordability. And now this is going to interest our young lady friend from the left side of the west coast here. Affordability continues to drive relocations to the Sunbelt states. And as I was reading through this, this is really pretty interesting. If you read through this, in February, there was a 14% drop in Redfin. Now, this is a Redfin article. And so does that mean that they included everybody? The answer to that is no, it's just Redfin stuff. But they're big enough and I think it's a large enough sampling. People put a lot of stock in it. I've said this 100 times. Redfin may be competition for me, for any agent that's not Redfin, but they're really, really good at data. They're a good company. I got no problem with these guys, but they're really good at data. And that's why everybody takes advantage of the knowledge that they give away, which is good. That's why we're here. So in February, there was a 14% drop in Redfin home searches. Remember, one of the leading indicators for real estate is going to be home searches, home tours. When people are looking to go look at houses, when the numbers go up, that means that there's more interest, right? That kind of makes sense. And so in February, there was a 14% drop in Redfin home searches looking to relocate within their own metro, compared to a 4% drop of out-of-town movers. Now, what they're telling us on that is that why would you go to the expense of going through a move in the same location when it's going to end up costing you the same, versus if you move across the country? There was some really good numbers. They talked about if you were in LA and wanted to move to Vegas, which I was shocked, it would cost you half as much. Housing is half as expensive in Vegas. I mean, I don't know enough about that stuff to, Vegas doesn't happen to be my market. But anyway, elevated mortgage rates and the ongoing affordability crisis have pushed many home buyers to affordable metros, so searches far from home have held up relatively well. I mean, we've been talking about that. What's the migration? That's what they call migration. The migration rate. I think I've got a couple of slides on this. Feel free to chime in there, Rodney.
It's the way I'm looking at it. I guess what you're saying is that they're moving out. They're not sticking around with their 3% rate they have currently.
Correct.
If they're going to leave, where they're making it up at, I think is what you're saying, is that like they're going to go to what you call a Sunbelt city or a Sunbelt state, but it's cheaper.
Yeah.
Like if you're leaving, the Mecca, California, and your price is say, $2 million, you move to Miami and you can buy for $1 million. So you're not worried about your 6.5% rate or whatever, leaving that 3 or whatever, because you're getting a better deal on your house, I guess.
Right. Plus that I think, and because I've been doing Californians moving to Tennessee for years, I mean, there's been, there's a lot of attitudes about that. And I am not proud of some of my fellow Tennesseans and their response to people moving in. You know what? The fact that people want to move here means one thing. We live in a pretty cool state. That's all that means. It doesn't mean that you're going to run out of space and they're going to take shut up, stop it.
Yeah.
I don't mean it's a little bit strong, but I mean that. I welcome everybody. We'll work
Yeah,
it out.
and I think people move to places where they like. It's not like it's let. I mean, just because it votes different or whatever, the state votes different or whatever, doesn't mean the people do. Because honestly, the people I've met, and like our homie Angie here, I mean, good people. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's not. My neighbor did the same thing. My neighbor moved from California, and I don't know. It's just like they're, it's just like everybody else.
Yeah. Well,
Except if they're from New York or something, you can always tell their accent if they're New Yorkers. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, if they're from the East Coast, they're moving way faster than the rest of us.
Yeah. I mean, I would much rather have somebody from the West than a New Yorker, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
from the South, right? They don't even understand me.
and I'm, golly, that is so funny because
And
I'm telling.
one of my friends here that works with us, she's from Brooklyn, so she wouldn't put up with that nonsense if she heard me say that.
Well, and Philip is hi, Philip, and Wendy. Most people move to the jobs. Well, I'm going to tell you that's a big part of it. Let's look through this. Florida. It surprises me that Florida is, other than the fact that it's sunny all of the time. I always expected that to be such an expensive state overall, but I guess that's just not the case. I mean, if you go to, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I think it's because they're moving in from more expensive areas like
Yeah.
California or or East Coast. That's what I'm thinking is because I've always felt like Florida is fairly expensive compared to us,
Yeah.
and I
There
think
you
it's a
go.
lot closer now, but I think it's just because they're moving. They got so much equity elsewhere. They're coming down to the Sun Belt states.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when you look at these statistics, 1/4 of the house hunters, a quarter nationwide, look to relocate to a new metro in February. And that just means that they're just looking. So that's going to be a big time leading indicator. If you're in one of the Sun Belt states, which we are, expect calls from out of towners saying, hey, we might be coming your way, getting investigations. Because a lot of times people will call and they'll be, I'm just checking out Nashville or Chattanooga or Knoxville. And I've had other people say, we're looking at Raleigh as well. I mean, they're just taking the whole the eastern side of the state, southeast, and checking out all of it, which you should. You're going to start over.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
I've had it. But
Look, I
quarter.
see Wendy's from Jersey there. Thank goodness I said New York because New Jersey's totally separate. I love New Jersey.
They, I do too. My first wife was from, I don't know why I characterize her that way. Anyway, I've got a deep connection to Connecticut, and that's where she was from. And me being an Ohio guy in Connecticut, different worlds, different. And I've moved a bunch of New Yorkers down here. Not all of them this way, but if you get East Coast people, there's differences in New Yorkers, that's for sure. But if they're like I had this guy from Long Island. He was the fastest talker. I was like, Joe, you slow down. I was catching every fourth word as he was breezing by. He was, golly. And they did move down here, and it just took him a while to slow down, dude.
Yeah, like I said, one of my LOs, Orly, she's from Brooklyn, and I mean, it's it's just it's like a whole. It's like I don't know. It's kind of cool. It's like a mask you can't take off. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like it's pretty cool.
Yeah. But I like that kind of difference. It says home buyers look to leave San Francisco. That's a whole different. There's a bunch of news coming out of there that, boy, it's going to be a ghost town if they're not
Yeah, it's
You
crazy.
know, it's
Yeah.
just nuts. Home buyers look to leave San Francisco, New York, Los Angeles more than any other metro in February, followed by Washington, D.C. and Chicago. I have a good friend that, and I never knew this, I have a good friend who lived in Washington, D.C. for quite a while, and she said that was a wonderful place to live if you're into history at all. I mean, you
Oh,
can,
sure.
I mean, it's all free, you know, all of these massive museums. And anyway, just said Washington, it was a really good experience,
Yeah.
but it's true that it was expensive, you know, and that's
Yeah,
why.
my cousin lives there now, and we were talking. We may have talked about this on the show about what he paid for rent out there. So yeah, it's expensive.
Where's that? Where's that, Rodney?
Just well, I guess it's somewhere in the Washington D.C. area or the just outside it in Virginia somewhere. I think it's
And
in the
that,
D.C. area. I think his it's some kind of apartment pretty much downtown. He's got
right?
like a 1 bedroom apartment that's it's just extremely expensive.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, one of the main ways they keep track of how the CPI and all that sort of stuff is going is I can't remember the name of the term, but if you and I owned a home someplace, what would it cost us to rent it out? And that's how it was always struck me as the weirdest thing. I'm sure that those smart guys put it together for a reason, but you're getting some
Oh
shade.
yeah. Honestly, I'm not surprised, but it's when we only have two viewers and you offend one or two of them. It's just it's just your day, right? Oh, they know me. They know I'm just messing.
Uh, oh man! All right, so moving on. People are moving to the Sun Belt and they like it. And to Philip's point, expensive coastal jobs centers typically top the list of places people are leaving, with the trend becoming more pronounced in recent years as remote work allowed home buyers to relocate to more affordable areas. And that we've found that to be consistently true. There's companies that are pushing back on that, but in some cases, they're having to allow it just to maintain good talent, I think, is probably what's happening. So
I think it's here to stay.
I think it's here to stay in some form. Yeah, I agree. So the next thing that I wanted to touch up base on was this. Here we go. I'm looking for it. Oh yeah, here we go. I saw a couple of numbers today that shocked me, and I think that I've got them loaded up here. Spring inventory. Buyers can't buy if sellers don't want to sell. That was the number of properties that are on the market existing. Here, let me show you a couple of slides. Here we go. The active listing count. Do you see this? I know it's hard to see, but I'm going to say it. March of 2023, the active listings, which means these are properties that are still for sale, is 562,000 across the country. Now, if you look back in the history, going back here as far as 2017, it's 1.2 million. These are that are active.
Yeah.
562,000 is not a lot. Now, if we look at the total, it's 955. What that does is that includes the properties that are pending. So, we're normally 1.3 for 2 million. That's the numbers. At the end of the year, what's normal is 4.6 to 5.3 million. That's what we've been pretty consistently over the last decade or so. If somebody's saying it's hard to find a house, I can understand that.
Yeah. Um, what is the list? The listings look like they were declining there. I mean, just like
Well,
dropping.
it's going up. It's just that the way it stands right now, because it realized now. Understand that this is coming out of the winter, right? And so, and March is just getting, we're just getting fired up. So you're going to find if when we come back to this in a month or 2 months, it's going to start sailing up, just like the guys at the top. See how they're doing the same thing? Same thing. So we're headed in better territory. I'm just saying that that's not a lot of houses.
No, yeah.
The typical home value increased 0.9% from February to March, the largest gain since June of 22. Because remember, month over month, prices have been dropping consistently, and everybody's getting energized by that. Let's see if I can't find another one here. Oh, yeah, home values fell from a year ago level in 18 markets. San Francisco experienced the biggest drop. They're going to keep coming. They're going to be like a news point, those guys. I can't even think of the word.
I don't know why anybody's leaving. Why would you leave there?
San
It's
Francisco?
yeah. I mean, well,
Wait,
I mean, I guess one, the home prices are coming down just a hair,
yeah, but they're,
but all those tech guys still leaving there. Is that
well, what's the reason I sort of mentioned it just in passing is that I wonder if are we allowed to? I guess we can talk about anything we want, right? If YouTube doesn't like it, they'll just like
yeah,
it. I think the problem with San Francisco currently is the crime is just out of hand. You've got taxes, you've got homes that are unbelievably expensive.
yeah,
It's a wonderful place to live. I can't imagine the environment, and I'm talking about nature. It's got to be a wonderful place to live, cooler than I would expect, I would think. Homelessness, yeah, there's another
yeah. I
point.
mean, that's all I've heard is like you can't keep people and can't keep. I mean, just like just ugh, yucky stuff on sidewalks and
Yeah, it's just, but in the end, the pendulum always, when things get too bad, people go, wait, this sucks. We're going to have to do something about this. And the reason I bring this up is because it's been on the news a lot lately. But at some point, they're going to just have to not tolerate it. It's like stuff you're seeing now where regular Joe lunch bucket guys like me, they're going to stores, and when there's robberies going on, they're getting tackled by Joe lunch buckets. It's like people are sort of fed up with
yeah, man,
a
that's
lot of
crazy.
things.
Yeah. It's one of the great. Yeah, I mean, I haven't been there. I want to visit, but
Yeah.
it's on my list mainly because of Alcatraz. But you hear such great things about that city. But yeah, the crime is
Yeah.
nuts.
Everybody that I know that's gone to visit it for vacation said it's just unbelievably beautiful, and to imagine those roads and the bay and
Yeah,
oh man. I'm telling you, I'm a California fan. I've been out there a bunch, and it makes my skin feel good, just I like it. It's not where I built my life, but boy, I
yeah,
sure like the vacation side of it. I was talking about the most likely reason for scarce listings is, and we're going to stay in this mode for quite a while, is that homeowners don't want to let go of their low mortgage rates. They just don't. And when we were talking about, I think, was it last week we were talking about that? The difference between, or there was a video I did, baby boomers versus millennials. Baby boomers that have a lot of equity are the ones that are making more of a move now. It's the percentage, they're number one now instead of millennials, where millennials were far and away the most highest percentage of home buyers. But with baby boomers, because of all the equity, all the upswing that we've had in value, they're the ones saying, hey, honey, you want to move to Toledo, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're like, sure, let's go,
Yeah.
Crazy. Okay. Okay, Rodney, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay. There were
I was
22%.
reading his comments. I agree. I don't know much about. I don't follow California politics too much, but I am. I'm not. I am on the face of the planet where I hear all that stuff. So, but
Yeah.
but if I don't know, but if everybody
Say
in
it.
California likes that, it's really not bad policy. It's like policy that the people there like, right? I mean,
Well, I think that's what, if there were anything to be said, that's what seems to be shifting, is that when the regular guy on the street, can you imagine, because this has happened, and it's not like I'm a news hound, but it's being presented. They were talking about some issues. Yeah, that's true. That's true, Angie. They were interviewing regular people that lived in that area. And it was the regular people saying, I got to get out of here because this is just not working for me anymore. Well, that's just, I say Joe Lunchbucket. All I mean is regular, normal guys like you and me, trying to get by. They're saying, I don't want to live like that anymore. And if that starts happening, the message is going to get out, don't come here, and we're leaving, but that's not a judgment thing.
crime will run somebody off pretty quickly.
Would me, I mean, can you imagine? They don't say that here in Nashville. I mean, there's some, especially lately, Well, oh God.
Hey, you remember when people used to, we used to do, everybody buying 12 South down in Nashville and off of some of our, I call them our worser areas, where drug dealers and everything, it was like they were buying these teardowns right next to a crack house I'm like, and the people moving in were like, well, these are like the friendliest drug dealers we've ever seen. Like they had no problems living next door to our drug dealers downtown. It was crazy. Just took over the whole neighborhood. It's wild.
These are the nicest drug dealers.
Yeah. I mean, they had no fear. You know what I'm saying? They're like,
hi, Bob. Hey, how you doing? No, I'm good.
We come from New York. You guys down here, we ain't worried about you guys. They've seen real crime. I mean,
they're always waving.
Yeah,
they're always waving at us on the corner.
Yeah.
Oh man, and they drive nice cars. Oh God. So that's funny. And isn't that, you know what? And I think, change, it's funny how change occurs, especially in real estate, because people are making, all right, what we've talked about, here's the deal. People are making lifestyle decisions, moving from the whole point of that first article is people aren't moving from place to place. The majority of people are not moving place to place within the same city boundaries or close to it. They're out of town. That's what they're saying. And as we've said all along, that people just follow the money. If you've got an expensive household or expensive location and a cheaper one, people are going to move from one place to the other to improve their life. It's as simple as that. Well, here in the Nashville area, we were talking about this the other day. And when you're talking about, and I imagine at some point Music Row was a little bit like that. As romantic as that can be, that maybe I could be wrong about that. But when we're talking about 37017 at B Antioch, well, how many for years and years? And North Nashville, when you get north of Nashville,
yeah,
they were tough places to be. We'd go show houses, and I'm going to tell this story because people said, they came into town. They wanted to see, they didn't know the area well. And they were looking at the price of homes. And goes back a number of years. So don't let this scare anybody off if you're watching this. And they wanted to see some stuff in North Nashville. And I said, are you sure? And I showed them some pictures, And they said, well, yeah, we'd like to do that. I said, okay, just understand that you'll have to see for yourself what you like. So we drove up there. We were going to go look at 3 houses. The first one we got to, there was crime scene tape and police and blood on the streets.
Oh my gosh.
Somebody had, and I'm not laughing because it's funny. It's just like, here I've got clients in the back seat. That was back in the day when I didn't do convoys. I took them with me, And I said, you see that? That's blood on the streets in North. What about this next house? No, we're good.
Yeah.
And we left. The reason I mention that is North Nashville's not so much like that anymore. Is it tough? Yeah, it's inner city, a little, not inner city, but it's downtown. And that's where, yes, we were talking about Hal Wilson, how he's gentrified, or, over the years has improved block after block after block of that place. And Antioch, it was painted with that same brush of being sort of a rough area. And just like any city, there would be little pockets of, hey, maybe it's not awesome. But now where's the most value you can get for houses? Where do people want to move? I'm not going to say number one, but getting close to the top. Antioch, That's a funny thing about our business is it's self-leveling like water.
Yeah, and when Antioch started, I lived there as a kid, and they teased us for being farmers.
Yeah.
For the farmland out there, right? And then it become,
different.
A place where lower income were moved in, and a little bit of crime happened, and now it's like everywhere else. It's
better. It's better. It's better now.
I mean, there's so many people moving here. It's just
Well, naturally, and if you don't have, I love it. I like to see that improvement, and it's happening a lot, And there are those that don't want to see the improvement because of it lifts the value, causes housing to be more expensive there, and people that are looking for a bargain, it's getting more expensive. It just is a little bit. Speaking of that, the next thing, and I think probably the last thing, because it's been a kind of a weird day, we're going to talk about. Let me zip over here. Here we go. The Zillow put out. Did anybody else see this article? Philip's usually pretty good on newspaper stuff or online stuff. She sheds, steam ovens can help sell homes for up to $17,400 more. Now let's talk about this a second. Like Redfin, Zillow is a great company. They're huge. They're competition to us, real estate agents. No problem with them. And they're really good at data. However, valuation may not be their strong suit. If we look back at history on how that works, Zestimate rings a bell, and everybody kind of complained about somebody go to list a house and their Zestimate was $400,000 more than the agent thought.
Yeah. But is that their fault? I mean, come on. I mean, they only got so much data, right? I mean, and when they put, and it's free.
Well,
I mean, should everything I think they're pretty close.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'm calculating in my head. You show me an area like Fieldstone Farms or West Haven or McKay's Mill or any place that is relatively dense, has some consistency on the home styles,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll show you a computer system, an AVM, automated valuation model, that can do a pretty good job of giving you a starting point. It doesn't tell you about the steam ovens and the saunas, and the sauna's a different deal, but it doesn't tell you much about that. But you show me places like that, and we've got a good starting place. Where they started getting in trouble was there's not as much of that as you would think across the country. There's a lot of rural living. There's, there's a lot of...
There's more of the other that, like, everybody else may not understand what you just said, but basically what you just described is huge neighborhoods with very similar properties that was built the very same, pretty much the same time. If they're being upgraded, most of them are being upgraded at the same time. So there's a lot of data provided about that specific, and a lot of comparables sold.
Correct.
So when you're saying is when it's basically not in a dense area, then their valuations are, they could skip over a major road. They could skip over into a different zip code or something and pull from like a Nashville's a zip code instead of a Belmead, right? Is that what you're saying?
Well, what I'm saying is if you get outliers, what I'm going to consider outliers, anything outside of that, what you've just described as predictable, that's, doesn't make it bad. But then you got, anytime that happens, the reason I bring that up is this, and I'm surely not laughing, it's not that. But the reason that the iBuyer, the Zillow iBuyer thing fell apart is because they tried to depend on AVM to create value for them to buy these homes across the country, that all of a sudden, when the market when it wasn't skyrocketing, when any abnormalities could be washed away in terms of, if you gain 20%, you can be off the mark by a huge chunk and still be okay. There's the emotional buyer and there's the savvy buyer who understands the cost that adds the extra. Exactly. But that is part of the reason, as soon as the market started to turn, and it wasn't even bad, but as soon as it started to slow down, iBuyers and folded up across the country. And all we have left now is we buy ugly homes. We're back to where we started, we're back to that, seeing that stuff in the median, at any rate. So they put together these numbers and what they were doing was they're taking that same data. I know it gets bright. Sorry, I have a big white website here. And so they started comparing the value of how much they could increase the value of a home with steam ovens, for example. Now, what they're saying, if you have a calculator handy, Rodney, that would be helpful because I don't.
I believe I do.
Okay, so let's say that we have a steam oven, and what they're suggesting is 5.3% premium. So if we had a $600,000 house with and without a steam oven, what's the difference in price on that? $600,000.
That's $31,000.
$31,000 for a steam oven. So that's going to make people run out and buy steam ovens, to get $31,000. Pizza oven, 3.7%. Okay,
Yeah.
25.
22. Yeah.
Pretty Pretty close. And then our marquee element, which is a she shed, which in terms now, where you could convert the she shed into a DADU, right? Isn't that what they call those? Yeah,
What's
I think
the
so.
DADU? What's
Yeah,
that?
it is it's like additional living space outside. It's like living in detached accelerate. Accelerate. What the? Jesus, I got to start drinking again. Detached accessory dwelling unit. And basically, a DADU is, when mom comes home to live because it's too expensive. It's a nursing home. You put her in the she shed and back is what's going on.
Yeah.
So the she shed was 2.5%. What did we say that's worth?
Yeah, 15,000.
Got it. And then in soapstone, and the reason I'm really not making fun of it. Well, kinda I am. Can you imagine? Of course, a steam oven. Have you ever seen a steam oven?
No. I'm with Phil here. Steam oven.
A steam oven.
I don't know what it is. Yeah. Is it new? I mean, heck, I thought
I
these
suppose
things were new.
I suppose it's new. We could go down to Lowe's and pick one up, though. It's a steam oven. But here's the one that this is what got me. And for anybody that's watching, because most of if you happen to be watching this on a replay, don't get mad. I'm not. Well, I am making fun. I'm just going to confess that's what I'm doing. Maybe we can get some gnarly comments on this. But they're suggesting, if we ran the same numbers from just only a moment ago, what did we say the value of the pizza oven? 5.3%. So we're going to go to a doorbell camera that's increasing. Oh, it's 5 days faster.
It sells 5 days faster. Yeah.
Do I? I don't. And if you have soapstone, you'd be surprised how many people either don't know how to do things. You make a good point. Maybe sticking one up and maybe 5 days faster. But so going back to this, mid-century hurricane storm shed is 2.3%. Anyway, the point and the reason I wanted to bring this particular, I wonder if I've broken down anything in this. Bear with me just a second. Outdoor entertainment areas, I can sign off on that. There's big value there. Saltwater pools, big value there because it's cheaper. So way cheaper to maintain, it's my understanding. Soapstone, I don't know much about that. Travertine, do know about that. Yeah. And then, of course, there's geographic differences in what features are desirable. Right. Here's my point. Don't get too excited about the steam oven and $31,000 for a $600,000 house. Understand that's a sliding scale. If it's $1 million house, so all of a sudden it's 50. You may or may not find that to be the case.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look up steam oven after we're off this and see what the attraction is. Seriously, I thought everybody was moving to that ninja kind of greaseless cooking stuff.
Air fryer versus.
Yeah.
Oh, you're killing me. At any rate, I would say, as we're leaving the air, that the value of a home has more to do with the curb appeal. Yes. The interior, is it updated? You can include a steam oven, but the steam oven on its own in a 1965 kitchen isn't going to get you too far. That's kind of my point.
It's not going to get you a plus 30,000 on your offer, is it?
Right. That's kind of my point. And
That's a weird
so,
feature. And a doorbell camera being the number one thing that sold your house, or the thing that took it off the market the fastest, or
5 days.
reduced the days on the market's a doorbell camera.
Yeah. Can you imagine? I mean, and Angie's got a point, I know that when I'm selling houses to a couple, usually the way, and maybe it's changed, but I don't think so. Usually, and I'm just going to say it, over the years, it has been that the kitchen, the master bathroom, and the master bedroom is usually one is more important to one of the spouses than the other.
Mm-hmm.
And the same house, when they go in, the guy, and I will say this, that the guy is usually calculating how much of a to-do list he's signing up for. Because there's cost, it's painting, that's X amount of dollars, but it's mostly sweat equity, putting in the outdoor living area, that's a different thing, At any rate, I actually had forgotten where I was going with that. Damn.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I get what you're saying with it, but it's what do you?
Angie has a steam oven. I get what she's saying. You would have had to correct me afterwards.
She's put a dish of water in there. Yeah, so it looks like her steam oven took control.
It
But
did.
yeah, I mean, I agree. When people buy a house, they're thinking about all the stuff that they need to be doing. I hear that all the time, and it's like like y'all are living in an apartment. Like, why do you feel like you have to build a deck like the first week you're there? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you just come out, you've upgraded yourself so tremendously, and it's like, so I see that quite a bit. It's always kind of, I'm like, wow, I guess they're just excited about doing projects.
They're just excited about it. And you know what? I'm glad you brought that up. What will happen, especially with first-time buyers or maybe move-up buyers, well, usually first-time buyers, they'll go from excited because the house is available. Then they'll go inside and they'll see the work they need to be done, just as you said. And then they become overwhelmed and they'll start to cool off, overwhelmed by the amount of work and the dollars. And what I try to teach people, if the family flow works, if you got for example, family flow, if you have a bunch of younger kids that like playing games and TV and they're noisy, a bonus room with a door is a plus, because they can play and have fun, and you can close the door and it's not terribly noisy. But so if you get past the family flow, for those folks that get overwhelmed a little bit, what I teach them is exactly what you said. You don't have to do it all at once. You can do one room a quarter. If it's painting it, do that in the first quarter of the year, or whatever, and then they're like, oh, okay, yeah, we don't have to do it today, Did you read Phillips?
Mm-hmm. Good luck with that one, son. She don't even know where our oven is, so she don't.
Oh God, that's it. I'm done.
Yeah.
Rodney, that was fun. Philip, Angie, thank you. Say hi to Wendy for us. You guys are the best. That was fun. That was a different take on the world. And for next week, I've got queued up for next week. We were going to touch on it, but I'm afraid steam ovens have stolen our thunder here. Is what are the predictions of where the market's going for the balance of the year? I mean, we have some ideas. It's starting to shape up that way, but that's what the marquee item is going to be for next week. So any final thoughts there, Rodney?
No, thanks everybody for tuning in. It was fun.
Hey, thanks a lot, everybody. And we'll talk to you soon. Talk to you next Tuesday. Bye, guys. Have a great week.
See ya.